Hey class, as historians today, we are going to be learning about the 7 Days Battle in the Civil War that took place June 26, 1862 to July 2nd, 1862. Here's your hook.
Johnston's wounding paves the way for a new commander, General Robert E. Lee. He opens his headquarters at the Dabbs House east of Richmond, and within days, he formulates a plan to regain the initiative and save the city. The massive federal army is supplied by the Richmond and York River Railroad, which stretches east to White House Landing on the Pamunkey River. McClellan's supply line becomes Lee's opportunity. Lee plans to bring Jackson's army from the west to Richmond. He will use maneuvers to threaten that railroad in hopes of preempting the pending siege. On June 26th, Lee strikes. Jackson sweeps above the left flank of Fitz-John Porter's 5th Corps at Mechanicsville, but he is later than expected. A.P. Hill's Confederate division forces its way across the Chickahominy and Meadow Bridges. George McCall's Pennsylvania reserves wheel into powerful defenses behind Beaver Dam Creek. With no sign of Jackson, Hill's brigades attack eastward from Mechanicsville, but are smashed along the banks of Beaver Dam Creek. Despite the victory, McClellan sees no way to save his railroad. That night, he decides to retreat to the James River. The surprised men of the 5th Corps retreat that night, but are ordered to stay north of the river one more day.
All right, so that was a little sneak peek on the 7 Days Battle in the Civil War. I just want to go ahead and turn and talk about what you guys already know about the 7 Days War or the 7 Days Battle, and also if you know anything about Robert E. Lee. So go ahead and turn and talk, and I'll give you about a couple minutes, 2 or 3. All right, so what I'm hearing a lot about this 7 Days Battle is I'm hearing it's you guys already know that it is Confederates versus Federals, or North versus South. So very good, you guys. They're still competing. So I'm also hearing that you guys know that Robert E. Lee is a brand new general, so that's also very good. So without further ado, I'm just going to recap really quick on the Battle of Shiloh and Ulysses S. Grant, who we talked about yesterday. So the Battle of Shiloh took place April 6, 1862 and April 7, 1862. The war focused on controlling the key rivers of the western region, Mississippi, Cumberland, and Tennessee. Those rivers were crucial to the South's ability to shuttle supplies and men. So who was Ulysses S. Grant? You guys found out that he was the general also for that war. So he led those troops. All right, so 7 Days Battle. So as you guys saw in the video, the 7 Days Battle was led by Robert E. Lee. He took over on June 26, 1862. He led the Army of the Potomac into Virginia and the Confederate to the Confederate capital at Richmond. The Federal Army is supplied by the Richmond and York River Railroad, which he planned to use maneuvers to threaten that railroad in hopes of preempting the pending siege on them. So on June 26th, Lee strikes. McClellan sees no way to save the railroad and finally retreats. So the Confederates at this point have 60,000 men, and the Federals have 27,000 men. The Confederates win, so Robert E. Lee wins after 6 hours of battle. All right, so that's your teach. What I'm going to do is go ahead and listen carefully. I'm going to give you some instructions, and when I say pickles, you can go ahead and get off the carpet and go to your seats and start getting to work. So what I want you to do is I want you to read page 203 in your history books. You can work with a buddy. You don't have to, but you can. And then answer question 19.3. The question is, who is Robert E. Lee, and what monument was he trying to get his troops to, and why? You have 15 minutes to do this. Go ahead and raise your hand whenever you're done. Miss Gould and I will come around to check your answers. Make sure you're answering the whole question. And before you go, be sure to thoroughly read the questions before you answer the chapter, and just keep them in your mind as you're reading so that you can just stop as soon as you find the answer and just write it down really quick so you don't lose your spot. All right, pickles. All right, so it's been about 5-7 minutes, and I'm just going to catch and release you guys really quick. What I'm seeing is I'm seeing a lot of partially answered questions, so be sure you're answering who Robert E. Lee is, what the monument is called, and then also I'm seeing a lot of people forget to answer why they're taking them to that monument. So there is a reason for that, so make sure you're putting that in your answer. All right, go ahead and get started again. All right, class, it has been 15 minutes, so you are out of time with answering your question. You should be done by now. What I want you to do is I want you to bring your Post-it pad and pen to the carpet, and you have 1 minute to get on this carpet. All right, you all should be on the carpet by now. What I want you to write on your Post-it note is I want you to tell me the name of the monument that Robert E. Lee was bringing his troops to. So just write down really quick what that monument was called, and you have 2 minutes to answer. Whenever you're done, I want you to hold your Post-it note up so that me and Miss Gould can come around and collect them. This is going to be your post assessment. Alrighty, thanks for listening.